buzz for Barbie is reaching a fever pitch lately. Twitter seems to be all about it. Everyone was talking about the premieres. They were talking about what everyone was wearing. And it is a unique example where it seems like they're actually making a movie for girls that girls want to see. But what the stars of this movie are saying is, nay, I am here to ruin all the fun. I am here to destroy any excitement or enjoyment you might have for this movie by trying to intellectualize something that may or may not be the case in the actual film, but the producers have done a good job of keeping that out of the promotional material, and the actors are just trying to ruin that by making it more about that. So he says, Simu Liu says, that this film puts the final nail in the coffin of that very heteronormative idea of what gender is. That just makes me want to go watch it. Holy crap.
It's funny because even the fans of Barbie who are excited to see it, who are liberal, hate Simu Liu. Like, he's just universally disliked. Even when he made his appearance on the red carpet for the premiere, they were like, why didn't he do the dress code? Why is he dressed like in blue and everyone else is wearing pink? But here's the quote from his interview. He said, I didn't really have a relationship with Barbie in the past. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a society where traditional gender norms were pretty heavily enforced and pretty prevalent. So I think we were taught from a very young age that boys don't play with that. Boys don't wear pink. You know, colors become gendered, toys become gendered. There were all these rules that were imposed on us. So he continues, Barbie was always like, oh, that's not my toy. That's on the other toy. And I'm so glad that this movie exists because I think it puts the final nail in the coffin of that very heteronormative idea of what gender is and what is or is not gendered. How can you make a color gendered, you know? And he said he's been very liberated by his ability to wear and play with pink over the course of filming the movie.
There was a whole time period in the late 2000s where guys were wearing pink shirts. It was a thing. Shut up. You're annoying. Look, the fact of the matter is they're taking what should be a fun time at the movies, something that should not be politicized, should not be some type of question for the genders, and turning it into something that people are going to be annoyed by. Now, to the credit of the studio, they seem to be... These interviews aren't doing the damage that you could expect them to for other films a lot of times. Like, look, for a lot of times when we were watching, when we were in the lead up to Dial of Destiny, when we were in the lead up to The Flash, I do kind of fall into that camp of like, remember, don't be terminally online. Is anybody actually reading this stuff? Does anybody care? Well, clearly people do, because nobody went to see Dial of Destiny and nobody went to see The Flash. So if you're worried about your actors making your movie look bad, maybe you should not have your B-level actors in your film. I don't see Ryan Gosling out here talking about heteronormative gender roles because he's not an idiot.
I don't see Margot Robbie doing that either, but ultimately this interview was done because Simu Liu is less relevant and it's easier to book him for an interview. And he loves preaching about this kind of stuff, and like he's doing everything he can to sabotage the movie and suck the fun out of what should be just a fun, lighthearted comedy. I wanted to also read this part. He said, it's great to be free and express yourself in all the ways you feel you want to, not to feel like because something is attributed to a certain gender or certain idea that you can't also do that. That's what I think really struck me about being in this movie. What's evolved in my understanding of Barbie and what it is, and what I hope that an audience will get from it when they watch the movie. They don't need to get a commentary or a message from the movie, and that's not what they're looking for. But here's the problem. The problem is not that, you know, boys felt like they couldn't play with Barbies growing up. The problem is that nowadays when boys want to play with Barbies or wear pink, they are told that they are actually girls and are then transported down a pipeline of medicalized, quote unquote, gender affirming care. That's why we have our, that's why we are like putting up guardrails against this kind of stuff. It's not because any of that stuff is inherently gendered. It's actually his camp that thinks that those things are gendered.
It's I don't know where you end up going with this other than just stop it. Stop making this what your movie's about. To be fair, Greta Gerwig's movie might have deeper implications as far as the script writing goes. I don't think that's fun. I don't think that's interesting. I'm starting to believe that people who are going to this movie because they see a lot of pink and girls get to be girls, I think there's a distinct possibility that it ends up being a disappointment and that it does have a deeper message. I hope it doesn't, but
it doesn't seem like it from all the clips I've seen so far. But another thing he said in this interview is like, it's a miracle we got Mattel to collaborate with us on this and give us their stamp of approval to license Barbie, because we're really, tackling all of the criticisms that Barbie has gotten over the years of it essentially being misogynistic and stereotyping women and, belittling them or whatever. When that's not true. It's done anything but it seems like actually he agrees with all of the criticisms of Barbie.
Yeah, of course he does, because those criticisms were lobbied. Those criticisms were lobbied by the same people he identifies with, the same people he agrees with. Yeah. So it's actually funny when you think about it that way, because it's like you do have those criticisms because you did probably come from a camp that thought that math is hard Barbie is actually problematic rather than just being something that exists in the world. Not everything is problematic.
I wanted to see in the movie the 1965 astronaut Barbie talking to the 1993 math class is tough Barbie, and then agreeing, math is tough.
Yeah, it is. I'm horrible at math. I'm horrible at math. Look, this movie has done a very good job of marketing itself, and this has got to be one of the more expensive marketing campaigns that I have seen recently.
They just shouldn't have included people like Simu Liu in it. They shouldn't have included someone like Hari Neff into it.
Well, if there was
or Issa Rae or any of these, sideline charity case actors who were made into supporting characters.
Charity case Barbie.
Yeah, it's like they're charity case Barbies. And I also wanted to mention Simu Liu has allegations of grooming. And I looked into this and I actually found that on his old Reddit account, he made posts that were suspiciously sympathetic to PDF files. Let me read it here. He posted this in 2015 anonymously on Reddit. His username was nipped in the bud. He said, "Hey, I'm a Canadian actor and I thought I'd chime in. I recently did a show in which I played a PDF file and did a significant amount of research, clinical studies, mind you, not the method stuff, on the disorder and how it's perceived in the media. In the end, the role completely changed the way I look at PDF philia and has made me much more sympathetic to anyone who is born with those urges." It's just like being gay, guys. You're just born that way. "From a biological standpoint, it's no different than being gay." Quote, that is something he actually said. "A small mutation in the genome that defines our sexual preferences. Depending on what area of the world you were born in and what time, it may also have been a perfectly acceptable thing to act on those urges. Now we all know that taking advantage of minors is wrong." I'm pretty sure everyone in human history has known that, but maybe you're the exception. He said that with the exception of Germany, we are going about it completely the wrong way. It's like we haven't learned anything by studying homosexuality. We're talking about exploring the same cures to pedophilia as we were about homosexuality 20 years ago, a la conversion therapy and whatnot. As part of my research, I discovered that these people have literally nowhere to run, even non-offending PDF files. They cannot seek treatment in most parts of the world because the therapist or psychiatrist would be legally required to report them. And he said, what we currently know about the disorder is that, like homosexuality, it exists on a spectrum.
Thanks, Bill Nye. This is all your fault.
He essentially makes no distinction between being a PDF file and being gay. He said that we need to continue to talk and write and research about PDF files, and we need to stop stigmatizing them. And he said that he discovered being a PDF file is not so different from being gay, and everyone deserves sympathy, and it's not a black and white issue. For most people, I think it is a black and white issue.
I don't even expect simple. Like,
that's just me.
There's a lot of people when the question comes up about whether drug addiction is a mental illness, or is it something that's inherent to you, because it can be passed down through your family, and then they're like, but you have to have sympathy. I'm like, even me as a recovering drug addict never expected sympathy from people. I don't expect anyone who lived my life experience to have any sympathy for me, because why would they? Asking for sympathy for something like that is ridiculous and monstrous.
It's just really sus. If this is the issue that you feel strongly about, is that we need to sympathize with PDF files. And Simu Liu is the exact type of Hollywood elite that I think we're talking about when we talk about Sound of Freedom, and the type of powerful people that are complicit in and looking past this issue.
Wayward Soul is out of pocket in the chat. I got we can't repeat that one on air.
Okay.
I want to point out a couple of other things going on right now. My favorite was this article from Time that says, we're ignoring the real reason Barbie might dominate at the box office, in which they say the real secret to Barbie's potential box office success has less to do with pink products than its subject and intended audience. Very few movies manage to cater to women without condescending them. They're actually right. What they're not saying is what they should be saying is stop making girl boss action movies that no woman actually wants to watch, and just make movies for women with pretty colors and dresses, and tell stories that women like, because that's stuff women like, just like men like guns, explosions, bombs, and etc. It goes on. In today's fractured movie-going landscape, that remains a rare feat. They're talking about making movies without condescending to women. Even as representation of all types in Hollywood is improving, the kinds of movies in which women stars aren't stereotypically girly, for better or worse, only 33% of the top 100 grossing films of 2022 featured female protagonists to begin with, and many of those movies slotted into the sorts of genres that typically cater to men. The Women King is a historical action epic that happens to star a woman. That's what they've been doing for a decade now. Well, maybe not. Yeah, about a decade, right? They gender swap the character, and they forget that 2 decades ago, when it was a novelty, it was cool to see the female action star. Everyone still likes Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Nobody has a problem with that until you ruined all of these franchises. So they're actually, the funny thing is, these people would agree more with the YouTubers of the world if they all just listened to each other and realized that maybe we can find some common ground here. In this case, maybe you make a Bratz movie next. I don't
think that they're capable of admitting defeat. I don't think that admitting that we have some middle ground here is possible.
No. But it's just never going to happen, and they're never going to make more of these movies. And this is on you, ladies. By the way, this is on you, ladies, now to come out to this movie and actually release.
I think they will.
You better come out there, and we'll have to look at the breakdown. They'll be able to tell you the breakdown of what the genders were of the people that came out to. I will be suspicious of just how much the people who come out and say I would prefer to not give an answer. Is that going to be one? Because those, I'm just going to count those as women. I'm just lumping those into the category of women, but it's this is what happens when you actually make a movie that lines up with what nature and biology and all of human history has told us that we like as human beings, right? You make a big explosion-y movie like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, guys will come out to watch it. You make a flowery pink movie like Barbie, and hopefully the ladies will come out to see it. It's not that difficult. You need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Simu Liu used the language in the thing. He goes, it's subversive. I vomit on your subversiveness.
Yeah.
I kick your subversiveness to the curb,
I think,
good sir.
If they continue, I don't know how Barbie is going to turn out. I'm expecting women to come out and support it. And I am expecting to like it because it does seem like, from all the clips, it's the superficial, fun, lighthearted comedy that we wanted. And it's pretty, and, Margot Robbie is a great actress. But if they continue making movies like Barbie and the marketing for it is all of this woke stuff, I don't really mind. I'm willing to ignore the marketing and just support the movie. Like, just pat them on the head and tell them, yes, it's so subversive and the social commentary is great, honey.
I'm so sick of subversive. Like, it is now, the only way to actually be subversive in Hollywood now is to not subvert.
I'm fine with them thinking it's subversive when it's not.
I'm
fine
not
with letting them live in their delusion.
No.
As long as the movie is good.
Pluck them on the nose. They do not deserve to live in that delusion. Correct them. Correct them. They do not deserve that. Also,
I mean, as long as the movie is good, what's the harm? In them being insane.
I'm petty.
I mean, they're never going to not be insane.
I'm petty, and I don't want them to be able to live in their delusion there. You also said earlier, you said, yeah, what's with people calling Margot Robbie mid? I agree. What the hell?
This insanely mentally ill discourse going on Twitter about Margot Robbie being mid, which is just like
ridiculous.
If you think that, your brain is broken. There's no repairing that. Yep. Yeah, it's really weird. The men are saying that Margot Robbie is a 7 at best, and I'm just so sick of their shit. She's obviously like one of the most attractive women in Hollywood today. And it's like the Jennifer Connelly and Zendaya discourse all over again. Like, no, you did not walk into any Burger King in 1995 and find Jennifer Connelly working at the cashier desk. Like, it's just not, that's not a thing.
There could have been an argument back then that there was less plastic surgery and less,
but plastic surgery is not that common. It still isn't that common. It's more accessible than it's ever been, but and that's like the trendy look. But when you go out into the real world, you don't actually see that many examples of women with excessive plastic surgery.
Slane Hope says it's clickbait. You took it hook, line, and sinker. No, we understand what it is. I'm bopping them on the nose because they're stupid for making these comments.
I'm still gonna watch and enjoy the movie.
And they absolutely believe what they're saying. I absolutely believe that Simu Liu believes what he's saying because he's been indoctrinated into this weird camp of believing that subversiveness is somehow subversive in Hollywood, which it's not anymore. They don't allow anything normal to get made. The reason Extraction 2 was so incredible is because it's literally just Chris Hemsworth being a badass for 2+ hours. You don't need to subvert expectations. They don't subvert expectations later when we're talking about Mission Impossible, and it's freaking great. By the way, an excellent female character in that movie, and I'm going to go off on that when we get there, but it's just, you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, and you don't need to do every interview as if you just left some humanities class, and it's stupid. Yeah. They're dumb.
Well, my hopes for Barbie is it's going to be like in the vein of a Legally Blonde. It's going to go down as one of those great chick flicks.
Oh, also, by the way, South China Sea. The Philippines is going to allow the Barbie movie, but they want that map blurred out. We talked about this last week. Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to do that. Without making it super obvious.
They'll find a way. But yes, even in the Barbie movie, there's propaganda everywhere. In the chat, oh my gosh, in the chat, I see a Margot Robbie is a 6 at best.
You better be trolling.
Oh my god. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.